Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's mid-January here in Indiana. It's at a whopping high of 4 degrees today, and I wanted to do some chores around the farm. So I went ahead and got some supplemental feed for post deer season. And so I got two of my feeders up today, and I just want to kind of show you what I put in my feeders after the end of hunting season, so that I can continue to feed and keep the deer herd healthy around the home farm. So if you watched any of our videos before, you'll know that we have about 80 acres out here where we're living, and I've been building my house the last year and a half. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I'm using here and what I put into my feeders. I usually run a couple feeders here on the home farm. This is gonna be a new one location for me this year. I'm putting it actually right behind my house. All right, so a couple things that you're gonna need to get started. These feeders, these wild game feeders that I use, they typically hold about 2 bags of corn or 3 bags of corn, depending on what you want to use. But I like to throw in some of these pelletized protein. Horse feed, it's like cattle feed as well. Just kind of give them some protein in along with that corn. And what I usually add to it is a combination of like either the powders or I'll usually put out salt blocks as well, put some liquid salt on that. But I've got a couple bags of this wild game acorn rage, and then I've got one that's crushed persimmons as well. I'm going to use in the other feeder, and it kind of gives them a really good, indication of that there's food nearby, because that scent's going to be blowing a long distance. It kind of helps them bring them to the feeders, and kind of gets that feeding site established pretty quick. So what I usually do is mix about a quarter to half a bag of corn in, and then I'll use a shovel and take some of that powder and mix that in pretty good, and then I'll add in, just layer it with pellets, and then add a little corn, add a little of the acorn rage or whatever you have on hand, and then just kind of layer it up in your feeder so that it'll equally disperse all that out. And then I'll take that shovel, put it down in my feeder, stir it all around to get that all nice and stirred up. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Couple things: if you start dropping it everywhere, it's not a big deal, because it's just going to go on the ground for them anyway. And I'll usually take half a bag or a quarter of a bag and spread it around the ground, in addition to putting the feeder full. So start mixing this up, and it's easier if you cut all the bags open in the beginning, and if you have some hands to help you out, give those bags to you and feed them up the ladder. That definitely helps as well. So I'm by myself today though, so I think I can manage without having my brother around to help me. So we'll continue filling this up and mixing it all together. All right, so once I do a couple layers, I'll go ahead and take a shovel and start stirring that around. And you just continue the process until you got the whole thing full. So that's pretty much what I do when I'm filling my feeders, because it work out pretty well. One other thing I like to do is take some liquid trophy rock, and I'll put that on top of my salt licks. And I'll usually put the salt lick somewhere near my corn feeder. When I'm doing this, I'll usually set it up to where I can get a camera sight within 10 to 15 yards from the feeder, so that I can monitor those deer, from that January to March time frame, and hopefully, be able to see those bucks as they're starting to shed their antlers and it'll give me a good indication of when to get out in the field. My dog Remy likes the acorn rage. She's already been licking it up all over the place, but I'll dabble a little of this liquid trophy rock on the salt block. Those salt blocks, I got this one from Tractor Supply. You can get them at Rural King, a lot of big box stores. They're cheaper than the trophy rocks. You can get one of these big blocks for about 19 bucks, something like that. But you just dump that around about a 2-foot circle, and that'll really help with bringing the deer in, kind of giving them an idea of where this is located, where your feeding sites are, and help get things started. So I'll put about half of that here, and then I'll put the rest of this on my other feeder. Alright, so I'm out here at the second feeder site. I'll go ahead and fill this one because I know it works, and then I'll probably have to come back out tomorrow and put a camera up over here because it's starting to get pretty dark. I only have about a half an hour of daylight. So same thing with the first site. I'm going to go ahead and put a salt block out here, and then I'll just dump the rest of this liquid trophy rock on it. And I already sprinkled some corn and some of this persimmon, crushed persimmon from Wild Game. It's just something I bought at Walmart. Like I said, it just brings in the deers with that additional scent. I mean, deer are going to find that corn regardless, but this will definitely help them find it a lot sooner. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this feeder up and then wrap this up, and then might film a little bit, putting some cameras up on the sites and getting this all together. So stay tuned. Alright, so after you get those filled up, depending on how much room you got in there, how many gallons your jugs are, these are probably 35-40 gallons. Usually fit about 3 to 4 bags in each, depending on what you use. I use a mixture of corn and protein pellets, so 2 bags of corn and another 50-pound bag of pellets. The corn are 50-pound bags as well. But it tends to work pretty good. Helps with the deer herd. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, get all my trash out of here, and then probably come back out tomorrow and get some cameras on these. So, all right, so I'm back out at the feeder. There's one in the main food plot, but occasionally I like to come out here and just check on them, because when you use that horse pellet, those protein pellets, they're a little bit wider than a piece of corn. Sometimes they get jammed up in here, so just stick your finger in there. Make sure that the feeder's rotating and food's coming out. And if it's not, sometimes you just bang on it a little bit and the food will start coming out. But these feeders have a quick tester that you can turn on and just fling some food out occasionally, which I like to do, to just make sure that they're working properly. So once that food, those pellets and that corn start coming back out, you should be good to go. Just check them periodically and just make sure that they're still working. Otherwise, your deer are gonna avoid the area if there's no corn dropping. So I just come out here and check those occasionally, like weekly, and should be set. So I'm gonna move one of my cameras back here that's getting a lot of pictures of the train going by, and just move it along this back field edge, make sure it's pointing towards the woods and I don't get any more train pictures coming through here at night, and we should be all set with this feeder. Alright, so we're going to do a quick test on the second feeder, make sure it's working good. I know it's doing all right because I can see feed falling down from the rotator on top of the battery there, so I know that it's going to work okay. But both the feeders are full, and I've got cameras on both feeders. I've been starting to get some pictures on the feeders, but usually they can take, you know, up to 2 to 3 weeks depending on, you know, location and how many deer you have in your area. So you know, give it some time if you use some feeders, but once you get set up, you know, get some cameras on them. It's a great asset to have, you know, early winter, in January, February time frame, when you're just trying to get some supplemental feed out for your deer herd, and also get some pictures of those bucks dropping their sheds. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick test on this one, make sure it's running properly, and then I'll be all set. So both of my feeders are set up, and I'm all set here. It's early February. I got back out here and checked both the feeders, and they're working good. Got both my cameras set up in the locations to get some pictures any time of the day. You always want to make sure you face your cameras north-south and not east-west, because you're going to get that sun glare. So I've got them set up pretty good angles, and got all the fine-tuning done. So I should be getting a lot more pictures and videos here pretty soon of deer using these feed sites. So I find that it's really beneficial to feed you know, in that late season, January, February, March time frame every year, just so that I can, you know, keep the deer you know, on my property, and it gives them some supplemental food, as well as gets the turkeys to come in and start doing some strutting around some of our bigger fields, and using the area for roosting. And that it definitely helps out in early turkey season. So here in Indiana, our turkey season is late April, so I usually run these feeders until about the end of March, and then they'll usually run out on their own. I usually don't fill them up more than once, but it's a great time to just kind of get out and enjoy the outdoors. It's actually pretty warm this week as opposed to what it's been, so I'm just getting out and checking a few things off my to-do list, and I got everything running the way I want to. So I'm gonna wrap this video up, and got a couple more videos coming out here soon. We just did an ice fishing trip, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.